you don't believe in that goal, if you don't believe that goal is ever attainable,
and nurture that on the inside,
it will never be attainable.
Right. Okay. And understand that the saboteur lives within.
Absolutely.
Right.
Because one of the things I find out is when I talk to people, and they'll start talking, and I'll go, "You want to change the way you said that?" And they'll look at me like, "What?" Because they just said it in a negative
and
way.
They weren't even aware of it, right?
They weren't even aware of it.
I
said, "No, change that to this." Right? So that's one of the things I wind up doing, just having a conversation with people. It's like
an on-the-spot coaching session,
like,
right?
I'm a coach. I don't,
Let me drop this one nugget on you right now, right?
Right now. This will make a change in your life.
So true.
It's just changing it from, and I'm trying to think of an example of somebody just having a conversation. Oh, my husband.
Like I want a new car. Yeah, like I want a new car, but I can't afford it, or I.
Right, but I mean, just simple stuff like my boyfriend won't go to this restaurant with me, or my mother will do X, Y, Z. The negative side.
Yeah.
Or, perfect example, when your kids are running, people who have children, or you got somebody and you got a door, what's the first thing we tell folks to do? Don't slam the door.
Okay.
And what do? They
usually slam the door.
That's right. So what do you want? What do you want them to do?
Close the door gently.
So that's what you say. Close the door gently as you go out.
Okay.
Don't forget, or, just ease the door closed.
I think people, and I think it's an ongoing practice. You have to be mindful that your words are a reflection of your thoughts. And if you want to know what's going on inside your head, pay attention to the words that come out of your mouth, right? And if you want to change your mouth, change your thoughts.
Well, you look around your life.
Or just look around, take inventory.
Look around your life and take inventory of your life. And as I said, as I started learning this, I went back in my life to see.
Same here.
What happened? What did I do? Another example of my thinking, and this went back into high school. Yeah. I was in choir, first soprano, and we did Broadway shows each year, and we did Annie Get Your Gun, and we did South Pacific. Okay. And so there was a call for auditions. Now, in the school that I went to, the black population was like 2%. Okay. Right? And I just decided that, okay, he'll never pick me, right? In my mind, it's like, well, what am I going to audition with? What am I going to sing? Nah, I'm not going to go. And, I've analyzed this a number of times, but in my mind, it was, I'm not going to be picked. Why should I bother?
But you wanted it.
I wanted it. Yeah. I wanted to do that. Yeah. And I didn't go.
You didn't even go?
I didn't even go.
You talked yourself out of it?
I talked myself out of it. The next day after auditions, Mr. Caruso, that happened to be his name, Mr. Caruso says to me, "Why weren't you at auditions last night?" And I just looked at him. He said, "I had the part for you, but I can't give it to you because you weren't at auditions."
You didn't show up.
I didn't show up.
Lesson learned, right?
Lesson learned.
Big time.
Right? Because that was my thinking, because I didn't think he'd pick a girl like me. Now, in South Pacific, there's a specific role for a girl like me. Oh. There was a Native girl who was the lead in the show. And I wound up being in chorus and in the dance troupe. But I enjoyed that, too. Yeah. But that was a lesson learned. And there's lots of those in my life that I can go back and see what my thinking was. And that did. But that was my belief system, that he wouldn't pick me.
Yeah. So I think we've really set the foundation to kind of talk about our topic now, and just we've got some rich content here, just kind of stack the things on. We're going to talk about in terms of your belief systems. Are they serving you well or not? So let's walk through a few questions. Let's define from your perspective what belief systems are to give our listeners some context in terms of what that means.
Well, your belief systems are formed from in vitro, in utero, right? Because even there, we hear our mothers talking. We feel the emotions, but we do hear. I mean, they're now saying, play classical music on the stomach and all that kind of stuff, and hold your stomach a certain way. The child is affected in the uterus. When you come out, you are bombarded by voices and people talking and conversation, and as a young child, you absorb everything.
Right.
So talking a little bit about brain waves, a young child is always, they sleep a lot because their brain waves are super slow. They're in delta.
Okay.
As they get older and they're staying awake a little longer, their brain waves get the predominant brain rates are a little faster, and that's theta, and that's where you learn.
And theta
sleep? Yes, and that's why kids learn so fast. They can learn 2 and 3 languages at the same time. They can do all kinds of things.
Right.
So they're learning from their parents, from their grandparents, from the people that are around. Are they in daycare? Are they listening to the people in daycare? Yeah. So they're learning, and they hear their parents talking about somebody who never does anything, or they hear their parents talk about money doesn't grow on trees, and we're having a struggle, and they're learning all of that.
They're absorbing all of that.
So you're absorbing and learning and gaining your beliefs simply by being with your family,
right,
and so on. Now, somewhere along the line, as you get older, you have the opportunity to believe it or not to believe it. You have the opportunity to grow as you're in school.
Okay, Ms. Beverly, I have a question for you, because most of us live life on autopilot where we're not even aware of our belief systems, period.
I know, but you're making those choices all
the time. Yeah,
the whole
correct.
time. You're not, and I'm talking from my own experience.
Same here,
it's I was picking up these beliefs and things, or I'd reject them based on something I'd learned. So we're always in learning mode, but we are absorbing these thoughts and things. So that's why I tell people, turn off television, turn off the reality shows. I know you love them, but you turn off these shows because they're not real. They're all scripted.
Correct.
And so you have to understand that.
Miss Beverly's super busy. Yeah.
Yes. So you've got to take the time to start thinking about what you think about.
Correct. I like that. Take the time to start thinking about what you're thinking about, being conscious of your thoughts, what you're thinking about.
Yeah, so let's say you want something.
Okay.
You want that promotion at work, or you want a new job. What are your first thoughts? I'll never get that promotion. Oh, John is better for that promotion than me. Oh, they'll never promote me to that job. Or is it, I deserve that job. I know I've got the skills for that job. I've got this. And do you ask yourself, what is it that I need to do to make that job mine?
To manifest what I want. Yeah, that is so true. My background is in human resources and staffing, and I've hired and counseled and talked to so many super skilled professionals. They would come to my office for advice in terms of wanting to look at an opportunity for advancement. They want to get my feedback in terms of the resume, the position. We would look at the basic requirements, talk about their skills. And on paper, and even from what I know in terms of their experience, they were super competent. They could go in and just ace the interview and get the job. But during our talks, like, well, I don't know if I'm qualified here, and I don't know if I'm qualified here, right? They want the job, and literally there was this pull, like, I want this opportunity to grow and advance. However, I'm afraid. I don't know if I'm worthy, I guess, in a sense. And I'm stacking, and we've stacked the job. We've looked at their resume, their credentials, and the job requirements. They exceed the requirements. Yeah, but the mental talk, the dialogue, in terms that's what they come from me. It's like, well, here's what the job entails, here's what you bring to the table plus this, and then we have the conversation on how to go ahead and take the step and apply for the job. At least put your name in the hat, right? Yeah, but just sitting there.
But that whole idea of
that internal conversation
you have yourself, you talk yourself out of things
before you even take a
step.
Right,
and I know some of you go, oh yeah, I'll go after that job, but there's something else in your life that you'll turn around and talk yourself out of.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility? I was talking to a young man, and he was talking about there was this college he wanted to go to in North Carolina. I think it was Duke. And he said, but I couldn't get in. That's why I went to Collin County. I said, well, what makes you, my SAT score, my ACT scores wasn't that high, so what? He said, but I didn't have this. I said, so what? He said, what do you mean? I said, did you go to the college? He said, no, it wasn't worth it. I said, did you go to the college? And he looked at me and said, why do you keep asking me that? I said, because if you'd gone on campus, and what did you want to major in? He said, I said, you could have gone on campus, found that department, found the department head, had an interview, talked to him about what can I do to make it possible for me to come here. Maybe I can't come in as a freshman, but is there a way I can get here as a junior? What is it that I need to do? What do I need to talk to you about? I said, because there's been people I know of who have gone to the college, to the department head, and got in.
Yeah, because they wanted it bad enough. The desire was strong enough.
And they were maybe on the cusp for the normal, okay, the committee is looking at this. Well, what if the committee is there, but the person you talk to is on the committee? He met you or she met you.
Or the committee chair that overrides.
They got to know you.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they go, no, we're going to take John because, and now I know John, he'll be good and he won't flunk out in his first couple of years. And so sometimes you have to take things into your own hands.
Or be mindful of your thoughts.
Be mindful of your thoughts.
Yeah.
And don't walk away, but as I said, ask the question, what do I need to do to get X, Y, and Z? Again, your belief system has to be there to allow you to ask that question, because now you're saying there's a possibility.
Right.
Or as the other folks, they came to you to find out what they needed to do, even though they felt maybe unworthy or they might not get the job. They were afraid. A lot of times we're just afraid.
We are.
And because our society has trained us to be super humble, right? Yes. And sometimes that humility stops us from moving forward.
Yeah.
Right? Because we look at somebody and say,
or it's just like it's almost a false sense of humility. It's like it's playing small for the wrong, like it's playing small and it's for no reason.
But underneath that belief system has them playing small. It's not a false humility. It's ingrained in them, and they haven't been taught how to move forward. Example. Yeah. Again, me, IBM. People were getting branch manager awards, and I said, I did more than that.
Okay.
Right? How did he get a branch manager award? And he didn't. Shoot, I saved the whole account.
Yeah.
And then I talked to one of the guys. He said, did you go in and tell your manager? I went, huh? I said, well, he saw what I did. He knows what I did. Did you go in and talk to your manager?
Right.
And toot your own horn?
Yeah.
Well, we weren't taught that, especially as females. You didn't toot your own horn.
No way. You wouldn't dare brag about you. That's one thing I talk to people when they do a performance. That's your best time to brag about yourself. Toot your horn loudly and proudly, right?
And let them know.
And let them know. So you're comfortable asking for the highest percentage of the increase of the raise.
Right. And say, I did all this.
Yeah.
Right? But I was in that state where I didn't even realize I needed to go in the office.
I think we're all in that. We can relate to you not even being aware.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things we aren't aware of because we haven't been open to it. Yeah. So with that, I still wound up not going in the office because I hadn't done anything recently, or I had thought I hadn't done anything. Next meeting, I got a branch manager award. And I went to my friend and I said, you went in and talked to the manager, didn't you? He said, yes, I did. So somebody else went in and spoke for me. But it was also a lesson to start making sure my manager knew what I had accomplished or what I had done.
And to be comfortable communicating that, not assuming.
For me, it was just my job.
Yeah.
Right? But for them,
they're busy. They have so many things to think about, right? So, so that leads us right into our next question in terms of your belief systems. Are they serving you well or not? Is how can someone begin to identify the belief systems in terms of just trying to get a handle on, or just to kind of turn the corner to start making that in their awareness space?
Well, one of the things I suggest is find your friend who you believe is positive.
Okay.
All right, that friend is always looking at things on the bright side.
Okay.
And enlist their aid in saying, whenever I say something negative, let me know. Whenever I say this can't happen, you could use a keyword. You can, like some people have a safe word. I want you to say the keyword is, or just say negative, right? And that, because they'll hear you speaking that way, but you don't. because it's normal.
Yeah.
So you can enlist the aid of a friend